Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Mars, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show, celebrating our fourth year, as reminded by Sister Satana Whitfield, our executive producer. Listen, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday, and from this Wednesday going back to last Wednesday, I hope you had a good time. We have a great show today. This show is actually, we're talking about not just voting, but we're talking about the significance and understanding what this particular election holds for us. Um, we have a special guest with Hamid Saahir, who's gracious with his presence. We're going to bring him on shortly. But, I really sit here and I think about so much of the stuff that we're seeing in the context, not of what we're seeing, but what we're seeing, but not really getting the full understanding of what's going on around us. I've said this over, I'd say, the last couple of months in the context of what this election looks like. This election more and more pulls us back to really what, for lack of a better word, this is America. So if you're talking about voting rights being taken when they were giving, this is America. If you're talking about people trying to incarcerate people, this is America. If you're talking about people trying to disavow people of their freedoms, their justice, this is America. This is, and I want to say in a very fish-eyed view, this is what it looks like. This is what your grandmother and your grandfather told you America looked like going back to the 1920s. This is when they told you that they had the signs up, blacks only, whites only. It's just that people don't have the gall, at least up to this point, to say that. But the laws indicate that they want black only, white only. The laws say that they want rich and poor. And so today, as we close in on this crazy election cycle, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know if Trump's going to win. I don't know if Harris is going to win. I know who's definitely not going to win in terms of the third parties. But this is the thing that I need you to understand. And this is something that I came across. This gentleman I'm going to be bringing up after the break. He reminded me, and let me say this clearly. He reminded me that the idea of voting is so much more than walking into a booth and pulling a lever. He gave a very, very detailed history, almost like a chain of command about the willingness to vote and the willingness to deny people the vote. And it really stuck a chord with me because, as a creative, you're always trying to figure out why things work or why things do work. And you're trying to put it in a space where it makes sense. This election, for lack of a better word, it just doesn't make sense. People are opting against people are opting against their best interests. People are opting against other people's best interests. That's like politics. It's now just I want to say almost a situation where people, for lack of a better word, have figured out how to tell you that you're not valuable unless you're valuable for them. And the flip side of being valuable is being viable. In this election, I'm worried about viability of certain groups of people, viability of Muslims, viability of women, viability of African Americans, viability of Latinos, because if you lose this, it's a mandate for people who win to say that you're not valuable and to create valuations for the people who remain. It's interesting because I have people who are Muslim and they tell you abandon Biden, abandon Kamala Harris. Okay, do that. But you had anybody but Trump thing back in the last election, and they basically just switched it. But the thing that bothers me, and I'm going to talk about today, is it's anything but vote. That's what it's become. Anything but vote. And right now it's critical. People don't understand that, when you don't go to the polls, there's a part of it, and I understand the whole space about Palestine, genocide. I understand that. But I want people to understand that this is something that's pre-existing. This goes back to 1948, and I respect that. I understand the Nakba, but I have to deal with things that are relevant to me for 2024. And my withholding the vote because I don't like that person can't be the thing that allows me to talk about fair wages. It can't be the thing that because I gave my vote away, I can't talk about civil rights. I can't. Hell, we can't even talk about voting because this is a situation where in the court system right now, they're fighting lawsuits that have been put on the books. They're fighting lawsuits where people are saying there's one juncture that you can't give people water at the polls. That's one. They're fighting lawsuits that people saying all of a sudden that these type of overseas ballots this is an unequivocal mess. We're dealing with it. I'm trying to get through it, just like many of you out there. You're trying to get through it and trying to make sense of it. Today on today's show, if you need to know, clearly is the election clause. Vote, damn it, with our special guest, Brother Hamid Saahir. Let's get the show rolling. See you back in a minute. So I kind of want to give a little background to our guest. I've known Brother Hamid for a while. Outstanding attorney, wonderful brother, doing great things in the community, Washington, D.C., and the Indianapolis area. So this is how this thing happens. I'm sitting in Juma, Masjid Muhammad. The Juma now is off of Bladensburg Road while they do renovations. I'm sitting in Juma. I'm sitting in my chair because I busted up my knee. I'm listening to this brother talk, and he's giving this very, very detailed khutbah. It has a whole lot of just a historical understanding imperative. And he lays out this incredible thing about, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings being upon him, and his discretions about how to execute a treaty. And that was the first part of the khutbah, which is fine. It was great. He goes to the second part of the khutbah, and he starts talking about this election. Now, I'm going to be honest. Normally, at this part of the khutbah, most khutbahs, I'm getting about, 7 to 11 minutes good sleep. I'm not getting this good sleep because I'm listening to what this brother says. And while it was Juma, I'm like, this is the message we've been needing to hear for the last 4 years. This brother was talking about the process. When we talk about the process, I'm talking about election process, what it is, the historical narrative of voting, why it's important to us. Nobody's really talking about why the vote is important to us. We have a situation scenario. We're talking about young black men staying at home, not voting. We have another scenario of black, but they don't like Trump. And they're all entitled to their opinion. What I liked about what I heard from Brother Hamid was he broke down, and he's a lawyer, but he broke down this whole idea of what it means legally. He framed it in very accessible language. And I think the thing that was more important was, as much as he did it, there was a sense of urgency that we felt, that I particularly felt, understanding that there's a lot more at stake in this election. There's been a lot more things at stake leading up to the election. And, I felt compelled to bring him on the show. And I'm really happy to have him on the show. We can get him up here in a minute. Please welcome to the show, brother Hamid Saahir. How you doing, Aki? Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my brother.
Man, so good to see you. Peace and blessings to you and your family. Listen, man, let me just get right to it. I've never been a part of the last election was bad. Okay, the last election, 2016, 2020 elections were bad. I've never seen it this bad. If you told me as a comedian, can you see this thing being any more comical, I want to say lethally comical than what we saw in the last election? I would say, no, it can't get that bad. And I'm basing that upon the resilience and logic of the American people. But it's gotten bad, man. It has gotten bad. How do we get here? I mean, I just want to say, I don't mind losing if it's a fair fight. This is not a fair fight. This is not an even fight. It's like two people in a 100-yard dash. I always say it's about black folk and white folk. It's a 100-yard dash, but the white people are 20 yards away from the finish line, and we're starting at 100. I win. I need another race. They're always going to win because they're 20, they're 20 yards away and you're 100 yards away. This election feels like that, man. And where did this happen? I'm going to ask you as an attorney, as a bit of a historian on this matter. How did it get to the point where people have the leeway to present these lawsuits it's just frivolous lawsuits meant in many cases just to hold up the system? How did we get here?
Guy here from the beginning of America. Uh, it was founded by white people for white people.
Okay.
And in some of these lawsuits, I think you're alluding to, is an attempt to fight for the white majority control of this country.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a change is that is ongoing within this country as more minorities are becoming educated, becoming having the resources to become politically astute. That the laws, that dictate how we live and how we interact, are
Right.
wanting to use those laws to 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 frame and enforce that majority that the majority rule while that group becomes a minority in this country.
I mean, you know, talking about the election is fixed. That's where we were. 2016. I talked about
Mhm.
it on the show. The fix was in, or that was a slogan even before Trump ran for president.
Yeah,
Like, people don't know that. Like, they basically, stop the steal. That was before he even became president. That was a strategy in case he didn't win.
yeah,
Okay, stop the steal. He wins in 2016. Stop the steal is we're gonna put it out there for 2020. Now we're looking at it for 2024. Now it's a slogan. It's a lifestyle. People are basing their careers off of stop the steal. And now, um, is it too late? I get this feeling like it's too late. You know, I,
uh,
I I'm holding out hope that the courts will do what they're supposed to do, but they haven't done that. I've seen the courts fail, um, with clear evidence that there's been election interference. Um, but at the same time, they'll electrocute somebody with everybody going, "No, take another look." Where are we with this? Because we're going to lose on laws. You know,
so regarding there's a couple of things going on with this. Is that if for some of the lawsuits that are ongoing against Donald Trump, since the Supreme Court, was uh, three of the seats were a couple of seats were filled by him. Um, they for the election for some of the issues that he was facing, made it so that changed the law so that he's doing his
mhm.
presidential duties or whatnot. But there's also other prosecutors who were just re represented their cases so that he's not able to get out of it. But if he's president, then it's on hold. So he wants to hold it and then try to we're assuming try to get somebody in place to kick it out.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what.
mean, he's running. He's running to stay out of prison. Is the way I felt.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Let's
yes,
be
yes,
honest.
yes, yes, yes,
He's
yes.
running to stay out of prison.
He won't stay out of prison. Then he's gonna people fear, based upon the rhetoric that he's been sharing, is that he's going to then use his power to lock the people who are trying to lock him up.
Yeah. Well, retribution. He hasn't. He has talked about it. What I'm
Yeah,
talking about. He has talked about retribution. Like, it's not. It's not even a hidden thing. Project 2025. They say it's not. Of course, it's you. It's your blueprint, because he's not a president that's particularly creative to me. But it. I guess the thing I want to know is, you know, is there any way we can revert? Let's say he becomes president.
yeah.
Okay, let's just throw that out. is there any way we can protect ourselves? Because the one thing I do know that they went after, which I thought was we slept on it. A lot of people slept on it. Critical race theory.
Yeah.
They try to take critical race theory out of elementary schools, but they wasn't being taught in elementary schools. It's being taught in college campus. Critical race theory.
Not even
For those
college
that,
campus.
huh?
At laws, I didn't hear about the term critical race theory at law school, and it was an elective that was taught Friday night.
And who wants to go to class on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, my thing is, I talk about critical race theory, and I have weaved it through my material for years. Talking about racism, talking about inequity, talking about Islamophobia, and it's a basic premise that it just fits into this whole thing. I mean, America is a country that's built upon laws. We're very litigious, right? So we have all these laws. What happens when one law is disadvantageous to another, one particular group or several particular groups? Is it an effective law? And in America, the answer keeps coming back. Yes, it is. That gives you slavery. That gives you Jim Crow. That gives you uh, that gives you Native Americans being removed, if you will, from their lands. I'm like, they got removed off of treaties, but these laws upon laws upon laws upon laws. I mean, it's scary. We put things up here in the show. Some people don't know about it. I mean, you have people who participated in a January 6th riot running for, they're sitting on city councils in these little towns and nobody knows. And it's only because little old white ladies rat them out that we become aware of it. How do we get to that point? And let me ask you a question. Are we as African American and African American Muslim and immigrant Muslim community, have we gone soft on these things? Have we just stopped being aggressive? When I say aggressive, I mean like, let's go investigate. Let's put our foot down. Let's go see what this whole thing is about. We tend to be very, very reactive now.
Yeah, people are reactive, and people have been um, for unfortunately some time. They have different guess facets, with the immigrant community. They weren't able to do much. Unfortunately, they weren't strong enough. I mean, you're not here. You're still trying to get your citizenship or whatnot. It's kind of hard for you to be able to speak up when you could be deported. But now they have
That's real. That's real, though.
yeah. So
That's
now
100% real.
they have
That's
their
100%
children who have now been able to come into office, been able to do more, be able to go to law, come across some equity, but unfortunately for many, uh, they presume that their Arabness or their immigrant status or whatnot, since they were living in white
real.
neighborhoods, suburban neighborhoods, that they had some proximity to whiteness, that they were more aligned with the white American experience. But we come to learn after 9/11 that they were reminded that they're not. The America played they're not like us after September 11th. And
They played. They're not like us.
it's not like
Before
us.
Kendrick Lamar, they had a not like us.
Yeah. So they definitely um, gave them a wide awakening of what they need to do. But for as in the African American community, people were becoming Muslim to stand against the government. To be an anti.
Do
Uh,
you see in this particular time? I say this.
mhm.
I mean, I try to be in the media, but it's a different type of view for me looking at the media. I'm a journalism grad, so you begin to see things. Like I just saw a commercial, and I just celebrated because all the family matched. It was a black dad. It was a black mom. It was black kids, two black kids. Um, None of the families matching commercials anymore. It's a white lady and a black man, or a black man, white lady, and the families don't match anymore. But here's the thing that really has caught my eye. It is the absence of black intellectual power in this election process. They're not coming for us other than a few people, the Van Johnsons who, the Van Johnsons on CNN, and every year they roll out Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. But they're not coming to folks who really get out of the dirt. Our leadership that comes out of the dirt. And I mean, like, building leadership. And there's probably another show we could talk about, the aspect of what happened to black leadership, what's working, what's not working. The chain of command has been broken to me because, and we talk about this all the time, because we can't talk to the youth. We've lost the language to talk to the youth. When you were talking at Jakupa, it hit me like, you know what? He's literally saying that we don't know how to talk to youth. If you don't know how to talk to the youth, you can't tell them about tradition. You can't tell them about how they got here. They're not listening. I mean, how do you feel about that? They've gone away from black leadership, black input, black insight for this election. I've seen it. It's interesting. Scary.
It's things by design, as in for youth not knowing or whatnot. That's the education. That's been done in America. People are not taught how to critically think,
Yes.
and also for as in history being people trying to take that out as into. But as I mentioned before, when I've done a Cooper, I didn't really learn American history till I went to law school. So
Explain it.
You would hear about George Washington, chopped down a cherry tree, Native Americans, used to live here, but as in understanding the reasoning, the actual law, the logic that was used for them to justify taking the Native American lands, I didn't learn that till law school. They claimed that the land was like abandoned and whatnot, but I'll say it wasn't
Wait.
Yeah, man.
They claimed it was
Abandoned and it was not being used. So since it did not look like what they saw in London, right? It was not being used.
London is one big ghetto. It takes an hour and 45 minutes to go 10 blocks.
So yeah, so that was their logic with that. But also they left out the part that they had ran the people off the land prior to, right? You come to this open land of nobody being there, yeah, you cut them off. So that's the first thing. But then also when I went into the Cooper, I talked about the different cases that were being used to keep black people in second class citizenship.
Speak on that, please.
So I mean, going back from with the Dred Scott case, he wanted to fight for his freedom and said that slave has no rights. And that was the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court decided that. Then also you have different things come up with that brought separate but equal. When you had the Plessy case, then you have a lot of different cases that came up, in which the Supreme Court decided. The Supreme Court has held the line for white supremacy in this country, and they're continuing to do that at this current time.
I think the interesting thing is when we talk about those laws that are disadvantageous to other, a lot of them are still on the books.
Yeah,
a lot of them they were never taken off the books. It's just that if you bring it up now, it's a situation where we have to discuss it. But they're on the books.
Yeah, the law that was used to justify putting Japanese in concentration camps is still good law.
Wow, it's crazy. I mean, I gotta shout out a few people real quick. Hold on a minute. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Want to give a shout out, Sister Ree. How you doing? Good to see you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Want to give a shout out, Bilal Salahuddin and his queen, Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and blessings to you. My main man, Altaf Rashid, all the way from Toronto. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, our Canadian envoy. How you doing, brother? Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Little brother Johnny L. Thomas, wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Send that love all the way from Milwaukee. Give mom a hug. as she recovers. My main man, Adam Khan, also from Ontario. Brampton? I always say Brampton. I guess I'm wrong. But he's one of my day ones from all the way out in Toronto, man. Wa'alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Eric Carter from South Kakalaki. What's going on, brother? I hope you're doing well. Hope you survived this election down in South Carolina, man. Let me know. I'll send you a rope, brother. I'll send you a rope. Got to stick together. And of course, wa'alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our executive producer, the one and only Sister Satana Whitfield in the house. We also have some people on Instagram. Real quick. Oh, we got a lot of people on Instagram. Professor UT, how you doing? Let me see. Talhasa Sajid Ahmed. Okay, cool. Chemical Boys. There you go. Chemical Boys said there are independent candidates if you don't want to vote red or blue. Yes, I know that. Thank you. The Farish Nawaz, what's going on? Vote green, please. Okay. Haisa and Faraz joined. Thank you, Chemical Boys. Assalamu alaikum to all of y'all. Ramadan LeBron, Lebaron, I've got that, kill that name, sorry. Valentine Queen, how you doing? Chemical Boys, son of Adam, 1961. Chemical Boys, pandering us to death. That is true. History has been manipulated and not taught in the education system in the United States. Chemical Boys, you're right. You were correct. Rasmali, I'm killing that name too. Son of Adam, they used the same land. They used that same unused land as part of justification to take a land over from Palestinians. I feel you. Hundreds of years and still relevant. Ali Sharif Muhammad. All right. So listen, we normally go to a commercial, brother. Satana, should we go to a commercial? Just keep going. She's mad at me. We're gonna go to commercial. I'm sorry, Satana. I'm sorry. We're gonna keep it rolling. Look, I don't know what the outcome of this election will be. I've said this, and the reason I say that because normally I try to forecast things. What I feel though is either party that wins, even green. I think that the animosity and the division that's happened will not allow us to do what it is America claims to do in terms of providing freedom, justice, and equality. It's just not there. The impetus of having to be on this side or that side or this side right here, it's ridiculous. It's taken away, for lack of a better word, it's become zero-sum politics. I take a vote from you, I take a vote from you. Now it was I take land from you. I take if you have land, it's only because you took it from me. This is weird. This is weird. This is like high school, but sadly, this is the electoral state that we're dealing with right now. And I don't think people, brother me, understand the legal implications. You can shout it from a mountaintop, but people don't understand that the Supreme Court does not have to be in a space where they share your interests. They can say it, but in the end, they do what they want to. Those positions are for life.
Yeah, they don't even have to say that they're in your interest. They as soon as they get they swear in, they can say whatever they want to do. You see Clarence Thomas over here he's being flued out by a billionaire. Clarence Thomas is being flued. He's a grown man being flued out, and you talking about he ain't got no
he's unbiased. The guy is paying for your son to go to school, and what is his nephew or his grandson?
It's too many family members.
He bought his mama's house or grandmother's house. I'm like, come on, Clarence. How long you been judging, man? You're a judge, not a clerk. Buy your mama's house, man. I bought my mama's house.
So a lot of issues going on with that. I mean, the people are going to be in for life, and with that, the upcoming election, if Donald Trump is elected, you can expect for Clarence Thomas and also Alito to retire within the 4 years, to guarantee that they're able to replace themselves with younger versions of themselves.
100%. 100. Probably one in this atmosphere. worse versions of themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They can
So
be worse versions of themselves. They can be totally open. We can find things about they've said in their past. It does not matter. Like that is the atmosphere. You know,
so
it's
so the
some
name, right, that you wouldn't be surprised if thrown around for replacement for Clarence Thomas might be uh a Cameron from Damon Cameron from Kentucky, who allowed who decided not to prosecute the killers of Breonna Taylor.
I mean, it's just
That'd be a good slap. That'd be good. Hey, thanks for that good job that you did. Here's a job for life. Keep it up. So
I just think I'm trying to. Okay, let's be honest.
yeah,
I don't say I have a love-hate relationship with American justice. I do have a hate relationship with white supremacy. But from a long time, clearly, if you're logical, if you're sober-minded, America disappoints you on regular
yeah,
as a concept. America disappoints, not the people. We have good people here. But when it's skewed and people feel like now I can really tell you who I am, it's like that's where we are right now. And we're constantly revisiting that thing. And it's like a merry-go-round. You just can't get off. You want to get off, they speed it up. You really want to get off, they lock you to the bar. And it's called justice over and over and over again. And I just feel like this was, we're gonna wrap here because I know you got things to do. And I try and keep it to the half hour. I just got excited. Sorry, Sadana, we're gonna jump off. But my thing is, man, I just kind of feel like this election feels like I'm being sentenced.
yeah. I mean,
I feel like
you
I'm
may
being
be
sentenced for a crime I didn't do, for a trial I didn't have.
the
Yeah,
fact.
imagine you walk in the courtroom
Yeah.
and they go guilty. You go, who are they talking about? They're like, you're gonna do 35 years. I'm like, ooh, somebody doing 35 years, but they're talking about you. In this case, I think we're all gonna be sentenced to 4 years. Doesn't matter who
No,
wins.
longer. If somebody else certain things come in, you got the opportunity to have a conservative Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decides how you're gonna live your life. People
Yeah.
do all the focus on the president because it's flashy or whatnot, but the most important branch of the government is the court, and not
It'll
just
make law.
the Supreme Court. Uh, you got you got the whole entire federal side in which you
That
have
we never talk about. We don't
never
talk.
talked about. Donald Trump filled them all with a greater majority of young white men. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's still the most black women ever appointed was under Biden these past 4 years.
That's
Most
crazy.
black women ever, like and combined for all presidents. So you got somebody's going to at least going to add some color to the court that decides how you're going to live your life.
They're not about that.
Yeah,
They're not about that. Brother Hamid, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you're busy and you took time out of your schedule. Please give your executive assistants my thank you because she was beautiful putting this all together. Everybody, please, I appreciate this, brother. Brother Hamid, don't jump off after the show. We got to talk for a minute. People, the impetus of this is we need to get to a point where, yes, alhamdulillah, 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 we have an opportunity to vote, and we do need to do so. But you need to be educated about your vote. Don't just walk into a booth, pull a curtain, not know the things that are going on around you. So before you vote, educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself. I'm Preacher Moss. This is the Shout Out Show. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Wednesday, inshallah. Oh, wait a minute before we put shout out to Brother Chemical. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And oh, Adam Khan said Clarence Thomas, Tyler Perry needs to cast Clarence Thomas. All right, I appreciate you, Adam, getting in your jokes. Listen, you guys been great. Thank you so much. We went a little bit over. Forgive you, brother. But it's election time. Talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shout out, show.